Okay, so we're going to do a quick op art explanation so that you can have some examples to go by. The goal is to use the 2D format, the flat format, to make the 3D world do strange things. You can see that the guy looks like he's pushing over the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or the crane has jet powers. You have to work with spatial distance, which means you have to understand it in a different way than you did for the other projects. You have to be able to give this, allow for the flattening and use that to your advantage. You also need to think out of the box. I don't expect you to be able to do this. This takes 100 photos or so, but it's just an idea of using an optical illusion to change the perspective of a picture. This is where it's a montage of a bunch of pictures. And you'll probably need to set your timer or have people help you. If you don't have someone to snap the picture, you don't have models to help. So here, this is the salt flats, and you can do all sorts of crazy stuff because it just goes for forever. I particularly like the Coca-Cola thing, the guy on the Coca-Cola. It'll probably take trial and error and maybe props to get what you want. This guy takes little tourist things and he puts them in front of other real things. It's very clever, I think. He kind of matches it up just right. And you got to keep your eyes out. Here's a cute one, I think, with the peso and then the magazine picture. Sometimes you can find some cool ways to substitute partial faces and have a lot of fun. Here's a mom who does a lot of these. There's a whole series on the web of making her kids pose on the ground. She gets up on a ladder and takes a picture. It looks like the kids are leaping over the ledge. This is a guy who was up high and took a picture focusing on the shadows as the primary subject matter, but because the guy is there in the middle, it becomes very evident that it's upside down, that he's using the upside down of the shadows as his primary focus of the picture. I love this one. Someone did a graffiti on the wall, which is, I know, illegal, but after seeing the position of the sky, and then the little boy finds it delightful. We've seen this. This is the German guy or the Swedish guy that flies the ultralights and shoots animals during golden hour. And so you've got the shadows are what you notice, but it's the zebras that are kind of the surprise optical illusion. Love these two. The head of, the kid carrying the head and the girl dressing her shadow. These guys measuring your moon. I like it. Some of the ones that are closer by, you have to work real fast. As they get higher, the moon gets higher up into the sky. It's slower as it moves, so you can play with it. The guy in the parachute is just kind of a magical thing because it shouldn't. That I think that was a lucky shot, but it's still astounding to see him almost landing on the moon, quote unquote. Sun shots. Love the fact that the saguaro palm looks like it's got weight. It's weighted down by the setting sun. I love this one. I know they worked hard at getting it, but it's just fabulous. The guy jumping up and acting, jumping up just right to look like he's getting the force on him. Here's a forced perspective of the flower close up and the dancer backing up far enough to make that to fit into the flower. Here's a guy who takes the same one who takes the tourist things like the postcard and matches it up with real life. I love that the smoke looks like it's coming out of the toy. Here's some others. My favorite is the one top left because you can see his shadow with his little hat and how he's trying to make the thing work. In Paris, and car hinge, which is actually not far from my house. A postcard, but not too old because it has the Twin Towers. An old plate, and I like that. The Ferris wheel is poking up behind it. These two are kind of simple, but shot of the mountains. I particularly like the detail that the little chalet is in the corner, fits right up with the chalet in the, in real life. This is called tilt shifting. It's a way that the depth of field is manipulated. I don't think you will have an ability to do that, but if you get a chance to watch tilt shifting, it's really a cool optical illusion. This one is cool, but Kevin said that it's impossible because the brightness of the screen, it's too bright in the brightness of the sun. But if something like that could be pulled off, it certainly would be neat. And maybe it is a different type of screen. I don't know, but obviously they shot the picture at a certain place, put it as a background, and then had her in that same position. If that is a true picture. Love replacing people with animals if you can do it. And there's another. Vapor trails are fun. The guy smoking the trail makes me laugh. I just like that. You've got just repositioning yourself in different places to make things appear using your forced perspective to make them work. This could be Photoshop, but I don't know. It seems like the guy is... Now, I thought that the orange car was a toy car, and the van is a real van, and he's got one car on the toy car on a ledge, and he's standing on like another section of the ledge, and then the van is clear away in the parking lot. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's how that's working. This one I love. It's the lady's just on a board talking out in the to somebody in the sand, and the way the flag shadow, the casting of the flag shadow, to me in my mind looks like the platform is hovering, and it makes me laugh every time I see it. It's just kind of silly. This is just the right place at the right time, or someone knows the schedule of how the planes come over and is able to plan the shot like that. Love this. This is using shallow depth of field instead of infinite depth of field, like with the other shots on the salt flats, but using a shallow depth of field to make those dots look as though they're one continuous unit coming out of his mouth. Fun. This one I think is Jello being formed, but Kevin said it could be that it's liquid, but they attached the glasses to something and tilted the board. So either way could work. Some more book and magazine things. Elvis, who it just makes me laugh. This one. The Doors. Kitty cat makes me smile because you have to look twice at it. These guys are timed just right. You have to kind of figure it out. One, Lennon throwing the basketball, you have to know, kind of practice what you're doing. But the horse one is just a accidental shot, I think. We've seen that one before where the cross is coming in behind because of the sunlight and the way the threads of the flag are. Girl or boy grabbing at a payday. Love that one. I think the way their hands are formed is perfect. Another magazine shot. This one's a sculpture, but it just makes me laugh because the way people were reacting in the picture. So it's not really an affected, like a optical illusion. But that is. This one, the girl is standing on her head, and then they flip the photo around. Like it. I like that. Again, using depth of field, a shallow depth of field to force the dots to become items instead of background things. These guys took the picture in Venice. They were laying on one of the docks, and it was just so quiet and still. I don't know when it must have been early morning. And so they're in the reflection of the water. They are lying right next to the water, which is the reflection. If you look close to the bottom, that's where the real items are, the real buildings are. Here's her mom and dad, or the mom who puts the kids on the ground, makes them look like they're doing stuff. This is really interesting because they position the people as though they are standing upright, even though they're laying along the floor. But what really sells it and makes it funny is the people walking, the little family in the background as they walk up to the scene. Makes you kind of question what's happening in front of you. Here's another one where looks like a photo assignment, but the kids are doing it. You can tell that they taped the bottle. But the way they did everything really is they thought through it. It's pretty clever. This is a whole group of people doing it. I thought that was really interesting. And the way they positioned themselves, it just looks really cool to have a whole bunch of friends. I mean, and to think that they're lying on the ground, right, and holding their heads up. Not, it took some work. Another photo montage. The nuns on the seat, that just always makes me laugh. It just matches perfectly. We've seen that one before, where you replace a part of a person's face with something else, or a part of a face. I know the boys had help figuring out where to, position themselves for this, but it's a clever one. Little girl standing in giant shoes. This was not necessarily an optical illusion, but it would have been better if the guy had a hat on, the big old hat to match this other guy. But it's clever, just a happenstance. He's actually drawing. Then you have your digital matching of the photos. Again, it could be photoshopped, but it might be true, if you work hard enough at it. And a guy holding the CD of the singer. I like that his head comes up over just to make the rest of her head. You have to think of little details. There's always stuff with toys where you can do things. We did some of that. Some folks did that when I was gone for Colorado, but you can do all sorts of interesting things with toys. And I like playing with them in that way. I love that shot. There's a little guy from Japan who does a whole series with SpongeBob and then this Amazon guy. And if you have a chance, you can look him up. It's really quite clever. The using of the sepia color, coloring everything back to sepia makes this more believable. The knot in the wood becoming a flame of the match. This one definitely is photoshopped because you have to have the rest of the legs to make the reflection, but anyway, I liked it, and I got sucked in for a while. Kevin had to explain it to me. And then, of course, we saw some of the painted hands. You can look those up as well. But that's, have some nice optical illusions that way. All right, if you don't want to do an optical illusion assignment, you can tell the story using stills. That's what movies do, 24 still pictures per second. You can use anything to tell your story, or you can pick moments that mean something, or a slice of life. This is a storyboard that gives you an idea of how pictures. I had trouble finding them. There is on Flickr a whole bunch of them, but I couldn't pull them over. They're protected by Flickr. But anyway, you've got the little girl who's hungry. She gets an apple, eats it, throws it away, and now she feels full. That's telling a story using 5 pictures. This is a 6-picture storyboard. You might see this if you were doing some animation. Almost all your animations are full of these, and even some live action when they're trying to fix up stuff. Get a plan for a particular shot or a particular movie. They'll use a lot of storyboards. So, you know, scary attic, kids go up in, find this interesting book or box, open it up, and something magical comes out. Here's an advertisement. I think this must have been for a class. You know, hey, sleeping guy, hey, get up already. Brings in a cup of coffee, and the smell wakes him up. Here's another one that is using toys. Again, you can do that with just anything. I don't know that this is spectacular, but it's just one example. The twist is treasure is his bunny rabbit. There's the Flickr page if you want to go check some more out. But this is the one example that I really like. So you have, you know, here's your Humpty Dumpty. Here he's falling and falling again. And oh no, he lands. He's, you know, no one can save him, even with the super glue. So they just had an omelet. They made him into an omelet instead. I love the horse actually bending over, or, you know, the way the position of the horse is. The head is, it looks like he's bending over to eat. That just makes me laugh. Anyway, so something like that. That's what you could do. I really do like how they did that. And I'm not quite sure how they did it, but it's really very clever, that whole sequence. Triptychs, I'm sure you've seen those before. That, you know, the elephant and the giraffe, and you see the different body and the face and legs. But you can do that as well, where you tell the story of a person, and notice that it's truncated so that they don't quite fit, you know, so they don't fit together as normal, but they can still work together. Here's close-up, medium, and far long shot, just to give you that perspective, but it doesn't really tell a story. It was just one of the few things I could get that began to do so. Okay, your assignment, 3 optical illusion pictures, or tell a story in 5 stills. It's due next Monday, along with your architect picks. If you have any questions, let me know. No, I had some kids who